Hello everyone, Prime here. Today we're going to be talking about Ragnarok and going over the key events, the most important details. Some of you wanted me to talk about Ragnarok for a fairly long time now, and I'm getting around to it now. So, after the death of Baldur, a certain winter starts to begin, during which there are no breaks for spring or summer or autumn. It's just a winter after another winter after another winter. The other gods fall asleep during this time, but Heimdall only watches, and he knows that the prophecy has begun. People will starve on Midgard throughout this frozen winter. They'll war against their own brothers, their fathers, their sisters, and their mothers. During this time, the earth will start to become a burning, flaming hell. Earthquakes will become commonplace and will ravage the earth. Those who survive will do whatever they must just to do that very thing. A lot of the rules that would exist in a standard society begin to fade away and be forgotten. The sun and the moon that's being pulled along by a chariot, courtesy of Sol and Mani, will be consumed, perhaps by the wolves Skoll and Hati, and Fimbulwinter will be in full effect, which is the great winter that Ragnarok prophesies.
I'm telling you, it's Fimbulwinter. I can feel it in my scrote. This is the big one.
Stop saying that. Oh, you're making me very nervous. It was bound to snow sooner or later.
That ain't just snow, and you know it. It's the end times.
How dare you make me the voice of reason? Guys? Just discussing the weather. Bit of a cold snap lately.
What he means is, Fimbulwinter's upon us, boys. The winter to end all winters. I can feel it in my scrote.
Snow will blow in from all sides, and the deadliest cold the earth has ever known will come into effect. Mountains will crumble, trees will fall on any lucky homes that were able to survive up until this point, and all of this chaos and destruction will weaken the bindings of several beasts, mostly wolves such as Fenrir and Garm. But the first to be broken free is indeed Fenrir. At this point, Fenrir has grown to such a massive size that his jaw is large enough to touch the earth, whilst the upper part of his mouth is able to pierce the heavens and the sky, and he pretty much can consume anything in his path. His eyes and nostrils burn as he eats everything, and as he runs along on all fours, his path is marked by flame. The sea will rise and flooding will commence. Jormungandr will bring the sea's might to the shores. His venom poisoning all the sea life, causing them all to rise up and just float on the water's surface. And he'll spray venom into the air as well, causing any airborne life to also meet a swift end. Or at least a very agonizing end. The legions of Muspelheim, led by Surt, the fire giant, and his flaming sword, will begin to make a move as well. His flame burns so brightly that no mortal can gaze at it, and expect to still be safe and alive. As they ride across the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge, it will begin to disintegrate and crumble, turning to ash, the vibrant colors blackening as they go. Another person to escape his torment and bindings will be Loki, and he'll be the helmsman of the Naglfar, the largest ship ever built, constructed almost entirely out of the toenails and fingernails of the accursed undead. Its captain will be the frost giant Hrym, leading the frost giants themselves into battle, and they will join forces with Loki's personal army, Hel's dishonorable undead that Odin and Freyr didn't care to take.
The Bridge of the Damned. And there's the Keeper, making sure the dead are really dead.
Vigrid will be the battlefield, and it's so large and so long that it's seemingly unending. Once the enemies of Asgard arrive, Gjallarhorn will be blown, as hard as Heimdall can ever blow the thing. Its loud, echoing sound will alert the gods to the beginning of the end. The gods will awaken, and they will arm themselves, receiving blessings from Urd's well. Odin will ask Mimir's head for counsel. He will receive knowledge of the future, and essentially what I'm telling you now. With the Einherjar, the honored dead that died on the battlefield in an honorable way, Odin, with his golden helmet ready, will lead his faction into battle. When they arrive at Vigrid, Odin will charge for Fenrir. Thor will whip his goat toward Jormungand, and Frey will challenge Surt. Frey already gave his best sword to Skirnir for Gerd's love, a choice he would most likely regret, as Surt's sword would burn anything, even if the blow was missed. Frey's current armor and weapon just couldn't stand the intense heat. Frey falls, and as one of the first gods to die on the battlefield. However, he doesn't go out alone and actually manages to take out Surt as well. Hel's cursed army locks blades against the Einherjar. Tyr will do battle against Garm, the Hellhound, who freed itself from its own shackles underneath the earth. The wolf and Tyr will battle each other for a time, but eventually they'll end up slaying each other. As will Thor with Jormungandr, the serpent will take a massive strike to its cranium, which will ultimately take it out. But as it dies, venom sacs will explode all over Thor, and he will die in a very painful way. Fenrir will snap Gungnir and finish off Odin for Vidar, one of his sons, to see. Vidar the silent god will step into Fenrir's mouth, his boot made from every discarded piece of leather any human on Midgard has ever thrown away. Take that into consideration if you ever want to help out Vidar. Vidar then finds the top of Fenrir's jaws and rips his mouth apart. Most of the Frost Giants, the gods, the Einherjar, and Hel's forces will have been slain by each other, but Loki will still be standing, just surviving the battle and around. But so too will Heimdall, covered in blood. Eventually, they'll actually do battle and also manage to slay each other. But just as the two of them die, Heimdall will explain that the cycle will continue anew, and that Loki's plan will ultimately fail if his plan was to completely destroy everything and bring an end to everything. Heimdall will specifically remind Loki that his sons, Jormungandr and Fenrir, will both be dead. Vidar and Vali, sons of Odin, will still be alive though. Surt will be unable to burn Yggdrasil, so the humans inside the tree, life and life's yearning, will be able to repopulate the earth once all is said and done. After Heimdall is finished doing all of these explanations, Surt will then raise his sword towards the sky, and everything will be set ablaze. The sea will turn to steam, the soil will smolder and fade, and the earth will be cremated. Everything shall burn. Black ash will fall like snow and blanket the earth. The fallen warriors will become ash, and darkness will consume the earth because, there's no sun in the sky. Now those were the key events of Ragnarok. Now, of course, after Ragnarok, the earth does replace the pretty much burnt to a crisp earth. Sol's daughter replaces her, and she actually burns even brighter than Sol did. And life and life's yearning do help to repopulate the earth. For this video, we're going to be focusing on Ragnarok purely because we don't know what was going to be happening at the end of the next game, and whether that will cover the entirety of Ragnarok, whether Ragnarok will be concluded within that game. So we'll just have to wait and see on that front. But that doesn't mean there's nothing for us to discuss now. First and foremost, at our point in the story, Frey is indeed missing in action. Nowhere to be found. We're not sure what he's doing or what's up with him. Freya has asked Mimir about her warrior's spirit, and she'll probably want to take action during Ragnarok, most likely wanting to get some vengeance on Kratos, but we'll have to see what's up with that. Freya, Modi, and Magni are supposed to have survived Ragnarok in the original timeline, but Modi and Magni are both killed by us in the story. Loki is a child and hasn't fathered Fenrir or Hel, which seems like a pretty massive problem considering the original story. And the dead are pretty much in a state of chaos because they're roaming the earth already, before they've been led by Loki or Hel into battle for the final battle at Vigrid. The giants and their whereabouts are pretty much unknown at this point, and so we're unsure what they'll necessarily do at Ragnarok. They probably will come. From what I've been able to find, it seems to me that the Frost Giants had depleted numbers or less numbers than they would have had going into the final battle at Ragnarok. So in this timeline, perhaps they'll actually come about in full force, because we know that Thor took out all the giants that were on the Earth, but we don't know how many giants he was actually able to take out in Jotunheim. He was able to take out a few, but thanks to Freya's meddling, not very much. At least not very much in the grand scheme of things. Last little interesting thing is, as we mentioned at the start of the story, all of the gods decide to go to sleep, and then they're woken up by Heimdall when the battle is ready to be fought. In the little teaser, when we see Thor appear before Kratos and Atreus and Kratos go to sleep, and then they wake up to Thor. Perhaps that might be a bit of foreshadowing. Perhaps we'll see Kratos and Atreus getting up from some sort of sleep at the start of the next game. Just like perhaps the gods of Asgard will be also sleeping at the start of the game. Seems like a fairly good reason as to why Thor wouldn't come for vengeance instantly if he's really mad at the death of at least one of his sons. And also the little dialogue that Loki has with Heimdall about Loki ultimately failing. Well, Kratos does utter a certain something just before he ends Baldur's life.
Why do you even care? You could have walked away.
The cycle ends here. Must be better than this.
Saying that we must be better, referring to the cycle of children killing their parents. Breaking cycles. So, assuming that Heimdall will be some sort of critical player in the story, which I don't see why he wouldn't necessarily be, perhaps Atreus will symbolize a lot of other things being broken and other overall changes that will happen within the God of War universe, or at least the Norse section of the God of War universe. But that was pretty much the video on Ragnarok, the key events, and essentially Ragnarok explained, I suppose. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, want to see more content just like this, well, you only need to hit that subscribe button and maybe the bell. But until the next video, have a very good day. I have been Prime, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.